Day 2 of the Festival of Arts and Culture took place in the Tanzanian city of Arusha, with conversations looking at health and climate change. The week-long festival is a celebration of Africa's arts, its culture, health, the sports sector, with representatives coming from across the world. The keynote address on climate came and was delivered by ecologists that President Dr. Abolo, or Paul Abolo. Newzroom Africa's Hugo Ribatika had a chat with Dr. Abolo. Let's take a look.
Today's Day 2 of FESTAC Africa coming to you from Arusha in Tanzania, running under the theme Your Africa, My Africa, Our Africa. The conversations have been multi-layered, ranging from culture to business, and also climate change has been one of those areas that's been most topical. This morning we speak to Professor Abolo, who was one of the keynote addressees this morning. Professor, great to speak to you. Welcome to FESTAC Africa. Now, you had a key message for us this morning. Just summarize some key points from what you were putting across.
Today we talked about climate change from a different perspective. What we really looked at is what we call the psychology of climate change. The practice is embedded in the psychology. So what we talked about is moving from aids, loss, reparations to empowerment. We looked at the values, the carbon sequestration values that Africa has as an investment towards supporting climate action. We also looked at how we need to get the people engaged through capacity building and through knowledge sharing. We looked at the carbon market, carbon credit. We looked at partnerships and collaboration. So this is, in a nutshell, what we did today regarding the climate action.
Now, Dr. Abolo, one of the things you talked about is how young people can get involved in this entire process around climate change. You also talked about energy and solar, and that we shouldn't, as a continent, be importing solar panels from other parts of the world.
That is true. But the young people, I need us to understand that there is no success without successors. We cannot talk climate change. We cannot talk about saving the earth for the future without engaging those who are going to live in the future, and these are the young people. So the whole thing about climate action and climate movement needs to be centralized around the young people. So that was why the emphasis on the young people was made today. Then in terms of energy, Africa has a huge energy deficit. And you can imagine we are trying to transit from fossil fuel energy to clean energy, and we need to make that transition. For a country like Nigeria alone, $410 billion is required to make this transition. And how do you make this transition if you do not have the inbuilt local capacity to do that? Why would you spend such a huge amount of money to import the technology that will help you make this transition? It doesn't make sense. So part of what we need to do is to develop the capacity, the technology, and of course the will to engage the technology using local content as much as possible.
Dr. Abolo, appreciate you speaking to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dr. Abolo speaking to us at FESTAC Africa in Arusha, Tanzania, and his key message is about capacitating Africans in order to be able to deal with the issues around climate change. For Newzroom Africa on Channel 405 from Arusha, Tanzania, I'm Hugo Ribatika.